Eoin, what's the crack?
I nearly forgot my name. Right, start again. This is ridiculous. I'm good, man. Yeah.
It's that vaccine has made me very forgetful.
Yeah. Don't even joke about side effects.
Jesus, I don't. Scrub that bit out.
Pfizer will be sending us an email during the week.
Yeah. Forgetfulness, very rare.
I'll bring up something later on about that. But how are you anyway? What's the crack?
I'm good. Yeah. Flying it. Nice. Got that Friday feeling, I suppose, after a week that was in a busy old week and work in fairness. But yeah, tipping away now. Some nice beers. Watch some good TV. I was actually buzzing our chat last week, about kind of reflecting back on the top TV shows and top films and stuff like that. Kira gave me a slap around the head because she said, remember I couldn't really think of the film, and she was saying actually Hamilton on Disney Plus was absolutely phenomenal. I don't know if you boys seen it.
No.
So yeah, it's basically like the stage musical Hamilton with your man Lin-Manuel Miranda. And it's just crazy the way they have it done, the camera angles and everything for a stage musical is just class, and the music in it, it's all rap and just the way the story's done is absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, I better change my answer to that. Kira, did you hear that?
For anyone not watching on video, Owen just got a slap around the head.
Yeah.
And this week we're joined by a returning contributor to the Snowcast from last summer, and someone we're delighted to have on. As we said before we came on and we were having the pre-podcast can, he says wine by day and drinks cans by night. Shane McNally, what's the crack?
Which, like yourselves, Friday feeling. I don't have that healthy glow about me though. I'm not vaccinated, so
yeah. You need to get on that.
I do. Yeah.
We're only half vaccinated.
DJ's got to load them in his pockets there.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want the dark web, you can start the bidding at 10 grand. But that was a joke for any.
We do not have any vaccine.
Yeah, if Paul Reed is listening in, that was a joke.
Yeah, I'm sure he's a loyal listener. I'm going to change it up this week. Before I ask what are you drinking tonight, have you had any cans before this or during the week that stood out? On.
Just before this, I was given a present at Christmas of 3 the Crafty Brewing Company. So these are beers that seem to be brewed for Lidl in Ireland, and I just had this there. It's called, I've actually never witnessed the word craft being put on a bottle as much as it is in this. So it's the Crafty Brewing Company makes Irish craft stout, and then on the back then they have our Irish craft stout at the Crafty Brewing Company. The Crafty Brewing Company, again, we like nothing more than crafting the finest award-winning brews. So yeah, they absolutely. But having said all that, really
yeah, six crafts good, right?
Yeah. Having said that, it was actually really nice. Really nice, smooth stout. Wasn't bitter or anything. It's actually a small bit on the sweeter side, and lovely. Actually, a really big whiff of coffee off it as well. Kira was at the other end of the couch and she was like, "Whoa, what the hell is that?" But really enjoyed it.
Lovely stuff. And Shane, how about yourself? Anything pre-podcast or during the week that you enjoyed?
So I'm going to cheat and answer kind of both questions: what I'm drinking now and what I drank maybe over the Christmas that really impressed me. So I bought a selection of beers as you do over Christmas. But one that really stood out was Doc Brew's IPA. It's New England IPA, so a big juice bomb, but full of hops, and I liked it so much I bought loads more off Craft Central this week. So nice. I said I'll just ease myself into this gently by starting on a 7% beer. But yeah, it's a bit dangerous. It is so easily drinkable. I was drinking it over the Christmas, just myself and Dad sitting down, watching some football. The novelty of that was amazing because we hadn't got to do it all year. And I said, I'll crack open one of these. I got a few of these. Middle of the day, like watching football, down one, down another. I was like, Jesus, that's delicious. But I'm feeling a bit ropey here. They're 7%. There's no way you'd know they're 7%. But yeah,
later.
exactly. Yeah. Wake up on the floor. But like it's really kind of like textbook New England kind of IPA, really big, juicy, but like there's lots of nice hops there as well. So a bit of bitterness. It's not one of those boring fruit bombs. It's actually quite a nice little beer.
Bit of complexity about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually had a really nice American beer there earlier on this evening from the Odell Brewing Company in Fort Collins, Colorado. It's Mountain Standard IPA. Like people know that I love my to smell my beer before I drink it, and as soon as I opened the can, I got a whiff of loveliness, and it was beautiful. Very nice tropical IPA. Not too tropical, like, but at the same time, very much an India Pale Ale. Very drinkable and lovely, and it was in one of them small little 330ml cans, which are just really handy for like a quick little settler,
Probably my favorite IPA on the planet is the Odell's IPA. It's such a good beer, like just textbook, and it's that real big whopper American IPA.
Yeah, and like Colorado is like just fucking there's so many like standout beers from Colorado. Of course, we got Left Hand Brewing as well. That is our logo. So like big fans of Colorado beer over here. We touched on the fact that myself and Eoin were vaccinated during the week there. So I suppose before we get into what we were drinking tonight, we said we'd do a little old vaccine ditty, just have a little bit of chat about it. Eoin, I suppose like it's one of these funny things. Loads of people are like, "What's the crack with this vaccine? Should I get it? Should I not get it?" You had the best line of the week to me.
Did I?
I think. When you just said, when I said to you during the week, what would you do if someone was unsure, like a family member's unsure, and you said, I'd tell them, just fucking get it. So have you anything to elaborate on that?
I suppose there was a lot of skepticism about it, and people are quite unsure about data and stuff behind it, but like for me, it just seems to be the only way out of it. Like we've bounced from lockdown to lockdown to lockdown, and like it's been this glimmer of hope as to actually coming out at the end of this, it's I suppose one of the things that was kind of put towards me this week was, what's the point in getting it if I can still pass it on, right? That was one of the things that was thrown at the two of us, really. And it's quite a selfish response, because if you look at the hospitals at the moment, right, ICU capacity is at capacity now at the moment. And hospital admissions are rising phenomenally. We've over 1,000 in the hospital now, probably over 1,200 now tonight, I'd say. And by you getting the vaccine, it means that you won't be a hospital admission, that you're freeing up a space in an ICU bed, which obviously you don't want to be in anyway, but also a hospital bed as well, and leaving other people's with non-COVID related traumas being able to get treated in a hospital. It's also a thing where everybody's going to have to get vaccinated as well in order to get this herd immunity from it. So yeah, just go get the fucking thing. It's simple.
Yeah, it's simple. Just go get the fucking thing.
Go get the fucking thing. Yeah. So DJ, you're going to sort me out, yeah?
Yeah, no. I was going to echo that. The one thing I'll say, and actually, I might ask Shane to talk about this a bit more, because I know you love a good fucking online conspiracy, Shane. But I fully understand legitimate concerns people have about this vaccine and that, and we just want to say that we're big fucking advocates of people taking up the vaccine if they have the opportunity to, when I got it done, I said, like, online, it's a fucking privilege to be in a position to get one at the moment, because in Ireland, you know, there isn't widespread access at the moment, and it is absolutely a privilege to be put in that position, and we really appreciate everyone that's got to that position. So what I'd say is, if you do have concerns, like, I fully understand why someone would have concerns about something, a novel medication or whatever. I'd say two things. Like, the science of 2020 means that we can move an awful lot quicker than we could do in 1970. So don't compare it to a vaccine that came out in 1970 that took 5 years or 10 years to develop, because it's not the same. It's not comparable. The other thing as well I'd say is, if your aunt is sharing stuff on Facebook, do not take that as scientifically valid. Like, do your own research, talk to people in the know that you know what I mean, and read more. Like, do not use Facebook as or WhatsApp fucking forwards. Like, do you know that episode of the US Office where, like, Michael Scott's like, he's the king of the email forward? Like, do not be the king of the WhatsApp forward. That's, like, nobody likes that guy or girl. So just, I'd say, like, you know, don't trust the fucking online conspiracies. What do you think, Shane? Are you, like, I'd say you're the kind of fella that for the crack comes up with these online theories and just sends them to your gullible friends to share.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, my alternative accounts, planting the seeds everywhere. Like, no, just like on a personal note, like before, you know, going down rabbit holes and stuff, I found out about an hour before we were recording that my granny is getting the vaccine, and like, that means just so fucking much, because she's had a very, very lonely year, and she's my last kind of grandparent, and it means a lot to my mom. So, like, to echo what you're saying, get fucking vaccinated, right? It's important, like, just because it's been a lonely year for everyone, and the more of us are vaccinated, the less lonely it'll be. I think that's probably the way to look at it. But there's two things, like the conspiracy theories about the vaccine, like, there's some of them are just absolute gold. Like, it's amazing what people will believe. But before we jump into that, because you mentioned the science, like, the science is phenomenal. Like, what we did in 2020, what pharmaceuticals did, they effectively had the vaccine after 6 days, because they were able to map its genome and create this mRNA, technology for the vaccine. And to match to do the human genome, I think it took them like 13 years or something, and that was back in the 90s. Like, just to be able to do that, like, the technology is fascinating. But obviously, it's Bill Gates trying to install microchips into us and turn us into 5G towers. So, like, that's obviously what it is.
Yeah, the signal in Kilcullen has been boosted phenomenally. Like, it is.
Hold on a second. Owen, your Wi-Fi dropped the other day.
Yeah,
can't be a coincidence.
There's no dropping of Wi-Fi today.
My microwave won't work.
But it's funny, like, because I actually was like, we're going to talk about tweets later on, and like, stupid innocuous tweets that somehow end up going like viral and that. But I had a tweet written out yesterday morning, and I didn't tweet it, and I'll tell you why. But I had a tweet written out that I was going to say, Jesus Christ, got the vaccine yesterday, and now everyone is speaking in the Wild Mountain Time accent, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Could you imagine? Fucking hell, would it be worth it? Like,
but the only problem with that, then I was like, hold on a second, like, genuinely, the conspiracy theorists and anti-vaxxers could actually turn people off getting vaccinated if they get their hands on this tweet. But I'm going to finish the vaccine chat on this, right? Honest to God, if you have a doubt, the more people take up the vaccine, the faster you will sit on a high stool and drink a pint free of guilt, shame, or fear.
Yeah, that's the main reason, isn't it?
That doesn't get 100% vaccine uptake. I don't know what way.
Yeah, I want to sit at that bar right there behind me.
Yeah.
You mean you're not now?
I've broken in.
I know. So that's the vaccine diddy done anyway. So, like, I thought it was just cool to highlight, like, what a fucking achievement it is by humankind to have a novel virus and within 12 months have a vaccine that's like fucking 90 million% effective.
I know we were saying there was like a real cheesy moment, like, after the vaccine, where we were like, Science, yeah.
I had this lump in my throat. I was like, this is one small step for man.
Yeah.
And then I was like, cop on to yourself, you dope. It's a good, and that's it. Like, one small step closer to snugger Phil Grimes. That's the way I'm looking at it now.
Actually, I suppose I should also say as well that the system that we had with getting the vaccination, I was so impressed with. Like everybody had, so like there was maybe kind of 4 different stations to it. Like someone registering you, then like a nurse directing you to like a cubicle to get like to be with a specified nurse. The nurse goes through all the consent and everything, and like make sure you're happy to get get vaccinated. And then there's like a recovery area then as well, and then out. But like I'd say including us probably walking up and down to the vaccination place, we were in and out in about half an hour. Like it was so quick, and the amount of people that were coming in and out in that half an hour was just phenomenal. Like, and like all the data that they were taking just seemed like it was real simple, but like it seemed like they were just collecting the right kind of stuff. Like, you know, it was just like your phone number so that you could get like a text for when your next vaccination is in 3 weeks time. And, you know, they had your PPS number, which it seems to be the number that they're going to take as the kind of record, like for keeping it. So yeah, it just, I was just really, really impressed with the whole thing. Like it seemed to have gone really, really well. Like,
yeah, sure. They had no problems with download speeds or anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But they are like it's great crack anyway. It's brilliant, and it's like I said, we're
would recommend.
Yeah, absolutely would recommend.
4.5 stars.
Yeah.
Yes. But what I'm gonna come on to now is I'm gonna ask you guys, what are you drinking tonight? Right now.
Jeez, I need to catch my breath. I'm on the White Hag, and it's Smash IPA, and it's this Union series they have. So DJ is going to talk about it a bit as well, but so the White Hag have this Union series, which is called the unification of 2 or more things. So Smash stands for single malt and single hop. So in this one, they want to, in this series, they want to like kind of showcase the different hops that the different hop varieties that they have in their brewery. So they're using one malt, an Irish ale malt, and then they're switching the hop then between. So this one I have here is a Nelson Sauvin hop, which I don't think I've ever heard of before, but I think it's in, is it a wine? Is it from a grape?
Yeah, it's from the Sauvignon Blanc grape.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That's
I was like, this does sound familiar. And yeah, I found it like it was really fruity, really light. And I really liked it. And I've just flicked onto your one as well there, DJ, which you're going to talk about. And it's a really cool concept of like you definitely, obviously you taste the difference between them, but like they're totally different bodied and stuff. Like the one that you're drinking is way more like, the Nelson Sauvin was really, really light, and this one is way more full bodied, like cloudy kind of nearly the look of it. But yeah. I think it's a really cool idea.
Yeah, I've just opened the Nelson Sauvin there as well, like 5.5%. They're both 5.5% actually, the 2 Smash IPA series that we're drinking tonight. And I had the smell of the Nelson Sauvin and the taste, and like, yeah, there's that like crispness, that kind of grapiness is definitely there, you know. It's very distinct. It's a little bit hoppier than I was expecting when I read the description.
Yeah,
you know, like it is very much a hop, but it does definitely have those characteristics that you were describing there, and like a nice little bit of kind of bitterness too, you know. It's not too fruity, like it's like you get the grape and then you get that kind of crisp sharpness, and bit of bitterness, and it's a lovely clean finish. I'm always really impressed when like you know, a beer is described a certain way by the brewer, and then you get you get the exact finish that they're aiming for, and you just get
maybe that's just a bit psychosomatic, is it? Like you're
well, no, because
it tastes like a grape.
Like I tend to like, I'll read like, you know, what the ingredients are normally if I'm going to taste the beer for the first time, and I'll drink it and I'll kind of like, this is what I think, and then I'll read the description, and usually I'm miles off.
Yeah.
But, like, sometimes there's something that like really stands out, and it's that clean finish stands out for me, and then like you read it and it's like, you know, smooth, clean, like a crisp, clean finish, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what it was. So
yeah.
I'm like, even a dope like me could note it.
Yeah, but a lot of that is practice as well. So like when you're doing kind of wine exams and stuff, and I will link this back into something else and so, but generally people have a kind of a memory bank of maybe 200 to 300 smells that they kind of recognize, but like just kind of recognize them. But when you start kind of doing flavor analysis and like smelling things, you get up to 500, 600, 700, up to 800 kind of things that you can kind of identify straight away. So it is a practice thing. And most people start from a baseline where, oh yeah, that's an apple, but actually there's loads of different types of apples, or there's loads of different types of citrus or whatever. And yeah, it is just kind of a bit training your nose. So like, as you guys have kind of, even if you look back at if you were to go back to your first episode of this, and then think about all the beers you've had since, you're probably even much more of a memory bank of different flavors, beers, different flavors of malts, all that kind of thing. So it does kind of develop over time. Like something I've done in the past is as part of your wine exams, you do blind tasting. Because a lot of people do ask, like you mentioned on that, is it bollocks? Is it psychosomatic and stuff?
Yeah.
Like it can be if you do some really good marketing, but you can train yourself to be able to recognize things. Like, so as part of your exams, you're given 6 wines, and you have to, like, it could be just 6 whites and 6 reds, and you have to say what grape variety they are, where they're from in the world, how old they are, etc., etc. And it can be done, and you can do the same with beers, with hops and stuff. And that's where the Nelson Sauvin, I'd have to try to remember, but I know it was developed in New Zealand, the hop, and Nelson in New Zealand is famous for Sauvignon Blanc, and I think that's what the kind of connection is. So that's a kind of funny crossover between probably psychosomatic and where it's grown and stuff. So the whole thing is really interesting, like that kind of just how you assess a beer and smell things, or how you perceive things. Like, is it what you read, or is there actually something to it?
I'm always just so amazed at the whole thing. Even like the smell. Like, I did a few like wine tours in like Chile and Argentina and stuff, like, and we went to the Casillero del Diablo, Concha y Toro, is it? Yeah, Concha y Toro. Went to that vineyard and like did the tour, and like, they had wine tasting and stuff there, but like, like it is amazing once someone, like, it's very hard, I think, when you're starting off, to differentiate taste and stuff like that, and it's a practice thing. But like, when someone does tell you what you're meant to be trying to tasting, and you're like, obviously you can go back in your mind then and go, all right, I remember a time when I did this, and now I'm going to try and compare that smell to this, and this taste to this taste. So like, I remember at that, they were like, and you'll get hints of leather from this wine, and you're like, holy fuck, this is so cool, like, this is unbelievable. Like, I still am amazed, like, but I was shocked at the time, like, that when like you taste it yourself and you're like, it's red, all right, it's definitely a red. And then they go, and you'll get hints of leather, and you get an oak and stuff like that, and you're like, wow, this is crazy. That like, just by like, by you saying this to me, like, I actually can focus in on what I'm doing here, and it's class. Yeah. When did you do your wine exams?
I've been doing them, like, it's years ago since I've done them. I'm kind of halfway through the diploma level, which is like one level below MW, which is Master of Wine, but like, got a long way to go before I can even get there. But I've been kind of doing them over the last probably 10 years, just kind of sporadically through work. when I can.
Class.
The diploma is quite heavy going because you have to do like a shitload of. It's like Jesus, such a first world problem. You have to go to so many tastings, but like I know it's really tough. It's really tough, but yeah, you have to kind of prepare yourself because like anything can come up in the final exam in the blind tasting, and then well, I suppose you need to have quite a memory bank of different smells and stuff. But anyway, like that's but just on that note, like, so the first thing that clicked for me with wine was Cabernet Sauvignon. It's one of my favorite grapes, and what it smells like is blackcurrants, and that's the first wine that I kind of got in inverted commas.
Yeah.
Because I smelled it, and I was like, that's fucking
Ribena.
Yeah, Ribena, exactly. That's exactly what I thought, and I was like, oh, I get it now. But the first beer that did it to me, whereas like I just really got the hop was it was Sierra Nevada beer with like a shitload of Cascade in it. And it was like that pine needle, pine cone smell. I was like, fuck, I get hops now. I understand, and that's, you're hooked then. You're like, okay, I need to find the next smell or whatever. I need to smell Citra or I need to whatever. Yeah, it's fascinating. Like, just when it does click in the back of your head. Like,
there's a great buzz when you get it right. And Shane, speaking of putting those skills into use, what are you drinking tonight?
Right, so I've already kind of half answered this because I'm drinking the IPA by Doc Brew. But I am going to move on to Kinniger's Double Bunny shortly, so I might give you some update on that when I jump onto it.
I think we'll come back to that in a minute. Let's double back around the other beer that we are drinking from the White Hag Union series that I had first. I've now moved on to the Nelson Sauvin. With the first one that I had from the Smash IPA Union series by the White Hag, which I actually, if you're someone who has a passing interest in craft beer and you really want to understand the differences, this is a genius way of like just differentiating. Have a can of Azacca and then have a can of Nelson Sauvin and compare the two, because they're so distinctly different. Yet the core ingredient is barley water, a single hop, and a single malt. And it's the same malt, so it's the perfect way of differentiating and literally just learning what the difference between two different hops are. But that's great for like amateur gobshites like us anyway, not the professionals like Shane there in the corner. But
professional,
So this is the 5.5% Azacca from the White Hag, which is a hop that actually features quite frequently in many of the tropical IPAs or the kind of it features an awful lot in some of the kind of cooler, more modern IPAs that you see in the market. Especially like it's a hop that's very popular with the limited edition summer kind of pale ales that people bring out as well, because it is quite fruity and it does have those fruity aromas. It does have notes of pine as well, Shane, like you were talking about, and it's a lovely hop. Owen, I think you were spot on in saying it does carry more body. So like with the Nelson Sauvin, you've got that like really clean, crisp.
Yeah.
Where this is more like a big, like kind of fruitier, kind of more explosive hop, I would say.
Yeah, I got a big orangey taste off it as well. That was my kind of my big taste off
it. Yeah. Well, they do like, that's the thing, and it is described as a hop that tastes of kind of tangerine. That's actually what they describe the hop as. So I think I think that Union series, and I like the cans as well, because like it's almost like the cans are like building blocks.
Yeah, I love the branding on it. It's brilliant.
Yeah. And it's basically trying to showcase the fundamental building blocks of pale ales, which to me is just like, it's almost like a pale ale for dummies series, which I don't mean that in a condescending or patronizing way, because
that's why we're drinking it.
Yeah. That's why we were like, this is brilliant, and what a brilliant thing to bring on this podcast as well. So thanks to the White Hag for allowing us to fucking showcase these hops and these beers for allowing us to drink these beers to showcase the hops. We're showcasing nothing here. Like, all we're doing is talking shite.
Brewery of the year 2021. I'm calling it now.
We're going up to Sligo. We're going up to fucking Sligo. Speaking of Sligo.
What?
Speaking of Sligo. Wake me up before you Sligo.
There you go. You got it.
I was going to make it work somehow.
Yeah.
That was such a good segue.
I thought I was losing it for a second, to be honest. But speaking of Sligo, wake me up before you Sligo. Owen, Shane, I happened to find myself being described in many different ways on many different radio stations in Ireland this week, because I really innocuously, in just a fleeting moment of walking along and throwing a random thought onto the internet via the medium of Twitter, kind of went a bit viral, because I tweeted the following song title, but with an Irish place name challenge: The Whole of Macroom, which is obviously a piss take on the Waterboys song, The Whole of the Moon. So before we get into the nitty gritty of the replies and the responses, and the fact that like loads of people just got a genuine laugh and a shit moment out of this thread and the replies, and like which was really lovely. I'm going to give you the figures behind the tweet as a time of recording: 900 replies, 124 retweets, 200 quote tweets, 1,554 likes. With those figures, what do you think the impressions, which are the times people saw this on Twitter, are? What's your best guess? Winner gets I'm going to say the winner gets a can of Lockdown IPA by Kildare Brewing Company.
I'm going to say 8,400.
8,400. Okay. Shane.
Definitely going to go higher. Not quite as high as Dr. Evil, but enough. I'd say a good 300,000.
Okay. Total impressions 398,900.
Fuck. Jesus. Now this is unfair. Shane, you've had a viral tweet before, so like you know exactly how many impressions equals how many retweets. Like,
yeah. I've got like spreadsheets that go on like the whole time.
Yeah.
Did anyone else get U2's that new album with the COVID tracker app?
Fucking hell. No, but we were saying it like just before we started recording, like that you just threw that up completely innocuously, like so yeah, the viral tweet I had was like, oh, I can't believe that there's a new fucking U2 album on my COVID tracker app. And again, like I was just saying to Owen, like I tweeted that like literally as I was falling asleep, because like the app had come out that evening, and I woke up the next morning and the phone had melted. I was like, what? And we were saying it beforehand, like sometimes you think you have brilliant tweets and it's like crickets.
Yeah.
And then something like that just takes off. But previous to that, so it annoys me now. My most popular tweet is Bono adjacent. But previous to that, I love the irony that my most popular tweet was actually about a bird. I just took a picture of a bird, asked, did anyone know what this was? And, again, just carried on my walk. And of course I came home and hundreds of replies of all these like bird enthusiasts. It's like, who fucking these people? But yeah, it's mad. It's mad how it takes off. But yeah, fun.
My previously most before this, my most popular tweet was one where I literally said like there was that they were charging the students €3,000 registration fee even though they were going to be studying from home, and I said that myself and Owen and Shane, I'd say you're about this vintage as well. Myself and Owen marched against the student fees rising to like €900 in 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
We marched against those levels of student fees like just a decade ago, and now they're $3,000. So like I got like that took off like there, and the amount of replies from young people being like, "You're telling me you were complaining about fees that were less than €1,000," and I'm like, yeah, because that was outrageous at the time.
Yeah.
But that's mad. Like, but
this is where we whip out the picture of Rory Quinn signing his pledge not to increase fees.
Yeah. I actually I kind of tweeted it, and then like I had a couple of thoughts to add to it, so I kind of did a couple of replies. It was just myself like replying.
Hold on a second. Are you not going to ask me what my most viral moment is?
Okay. Owen, I sincerely apologize.
Because this is gold. And I can't believe you forgot, because that's real irony there that you've forgotten what this is about.
It's the fucking vaccine, man.
Well, actually, I've actually thought of one other as well.
But you have to, yeah, but You have to tell both then.
Oh, and because
Okay.
I forgot, you have 2 viral moments to share with the listeners.
Okay, so one is a YouTube video that I took when I was on my J1 in San Diego. And it is, if you search on youtube.com, you will get, if you search African and Asian elephants in San Diego Zoo, it should be the top result. Like, it's phenomenal footage. I think it could be maybe 40 seconds of a clip. But this video is of African and Asian elephants in San Diego Zoo. No commentary, nothing, just drive by. But yeah, there's tens of thousands of views of this thing, and I get comments quite regularly explaining the differences between Asian and African elephants. So yeah, that's a huge one. But DJ, you will actually know this one.
Hold on, before you move on from that one, I have a few comments on this. After.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
First comment. I actually remember you coming home from that J1 and we having a conversation. We had a conversation in Sissy Young's pub where you were explaining to me that like David Attenborough was trying to recruit you as a camera operator for his upcoming tour of the Galapagos.
Yeah, just phone camera operator.
But the other thing I want to know is, I wonder, is there any overlap between the elephant enthusiasts of YouTube and the snowcast enthusiasts of the podcast land?
Yeah, please.
If you are an elephant enthusiast who is connected on Owen's YouTube video over there, please get in touch because we want to have you on the podcast.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
So, Owen, please give us your second viral video viral moment that I may or may not be familiar with.
No, you definitely are, right? So this is from Electric Picnic 3 years ago, where so it was at the
4.5 years ago.
What?
It's 4.5 years ago.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, so is it? Maybe it is, Jesus. But anyway, this is I was at a gig with what's the name of that crowd who do like the pop-up disco things in Dublin? Fuck, I need to find this up. I don't even know the details of my own viral video.
While you're looking up, oh yes, no, this wasn't 2016. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Elephant never forgets.
While you're looking this moment up,
yeah,
actually was the highlight of our workspace. Like all of our work colleagues thought this was the greatest thing since sliced pan. I want to talk about while you're looking this up, I want to find out another Electric Picnic story for myself and Owen is the best gig I have ever been to.
Oh yeah.
On the Country Mile was at 4:15 a.m. on the Friday night of Electric Picnic. And it was a Daft Punk tribute band called Daft As Punk. And they were brilliant. And I don't know one, but I think on one of your old phones there's a lot of selfies of us and Daft As Punk when we mounted the stage.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
We must dig them out. But
I have it. So it's Sing Along Social is the name of the group. I don't know, Shane, have you ever seen them? They like basically it's kind of like this girl DJ group who like just basically play covers, but they play a lot of like they play the Button Factory, I think, in Dublin. And then they go to all the festivals as well, like, but it's just cheesy, like 90s, 80s covers. Like, it's just fantastic. But the viral clip of me is that they played Riverdance, right? The full Riverdance thing. And they formed like this kind of like split, kind of like Moses, like they split the crowd in two and had like a big runway going down the crowd. So then like I like fucking like, you know, it's like, you know, like all the fucking Riverdance music starts coming on. And I just burst into the middle of the crowd and like totally like Michael Flatley, like, you know, like all up and down. It's so good. Like, yeah, but that thing just, that absolutely took off on Facebook. I think at the time it was so.
The best thing about it taking off on Facebook was you were at Electric Picnic and they put it up that night. So like you didn't have like coverage on your phone or anything.
No.
Like I was there, I didn't go to Electric Picnic that year, and I was there the whole weekend with like people sending me like, is this Eoin in this video?
Yeah.
And I was like, it actually fucking is, you know. Like, I spent all weekend getting people sending me this video, and I like text you being like, you do know you're famous now, and you like just not even having access to your phone for the weekend. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant.
The comment on it is so this is put up by Sing Along Social, and it's major props to this legend who so deftly embodied the spirit of Michael Flatley at Electric Picnic over the weekend. We applaud you, good sir, whoever you are. I also love, they have this clarification bit here, right, that says he comes in at 6 seconds and it is mighty. Who doesn't watch a video for more than 6 seconds? That's insane.
Like, I know people's attention spans is fucked, but like, come on.
Yeah, like it's a minute-long video. That is
6 seconds. That's not a gift. Come on, like.
No.
I never saw that comment. Oh, stop, lads.
Actually, you should download that and turn it into a GIF.
Oh yeah, definitely. Actually, yeah.
I love that, like, he comes at 6 seconds is going to be your new like life. Always has been. So this tweet anyway that went around the world, including like I'd like to, so I'll give you some of my initial replies anyway that just came into my head. So Kings of Leon, your sex is Glanmire.
Yeah.
Kanye West and Twista's classic Ballin' Slow Jams.
Oh yeah.
Elvis Presley's Suspicious Rat Minds.
That's fucking cool.
And of course, Eoin, your party piece, Wheatus's Teenage Dirt Bagnallstown. But I know you guys have them up on the screen there. Are there any replies or quote tweets, or did you guys reply anything? Because I had to mute it.
Yeah, no, I replied, it's a long way to Tipperary, just being like, yeah, whatever.
You were one of them. Like,
I was one of them, yeah. But yeah,
my brother Mark replied, the boys of Fair Hill. I was like, why is everyone that I know not getting this?
Yeah. or they treated the tweet as it was intended, you know. And my favorite was You'll Never Walk Out Alone.
Yeah, that was good too. I was there, like, so many people replied like songs that actually had Irish place names in their title, and I had this thought at one stage, and I was going to reply to each of them and say, do you actually think that I think the Waterboys wrote a song called The Whole? Eoin, what stood out for you?
I loved Fuck That Portlaoise.
Oh yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
That was a good one.
Somebody replied that and then found Portlaoise Pub Club, shout out to Peter, his reply, and then replied to him as well.
That one wins, so just for persistence.
I have to say, like, speaking, like, obviously because we love our craft beer here, Dead Center Brewing replied very early on. Like, Dead Center Brewing one of the first to reply, and they gave a couple with E17 Bray now, and I actually spent the night with that stuck in my head. I kept singing to me, baby, if you have to go to Bray.
Amazing.
So good.
Fucking mad. It was in my head the whole night. That was one of my favorite replies. There were some absolute gems. All the Dingle Ladies was
that's a good one.
Yeah.
I liked Californication.
Yeah. Actually, because I had one, I had one as well that I think I quote tweeted about 2 hours later was Danny Ballyfornia. Actually, like, Tate Donnelly replied a good one. Big Shack, Inishman's not hot. Which is actually very true. I don't know if they've ever been to Inishman, but it's fucking freezing. I wanted someone like Mark Healy at Marky Keels replied, "New Ross, new Ross."
Oh yeah, I was just like,
That's very good.
Yeah,
Simple ones are just absolutely brilliant. Miss T at Netty Temp, Belfast at Tiffany's was quite good.
Don't Look Back in Bangor, that was a good one as well.
That's so good. Like, Donegal breaking my heart. But I found, like, I was reading through them and I was like, oh, that's good. And then when you try and sing the song, it has to make sense when you sing the song. Because some of them are like, oh, that's actually quite witty. And then you go to sing the song and it's like not good at all.
Yeah.
But now that I'm scrolling through it, I can't really find any good ones.
Yeah.
I like Bat Out of Clonmel.
Yeah, so that's very good. We've got a Dolly Parton one here. Always a winner. Goaleen, 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 Goaleen.
Which reminds me of the greatest gif of all time in Irish Twitter, Shoneen.
Oh yeah.
Top notch. There were some good ones as well with y'all in them, but I can't find any of them now. And again, the back making me forget.
Actually, there's a good leash one there. It's like a Korn song called "Freak on a Leash."
That's a good one.
Oh, top notch. There's some, like, the thing that stuck out to me is like the absolute genius and imagination of Irish people, like, you know, and it's like you could see that people were really trying to get their own hometown into like songs as well. Like there's some people were absolutely making stretches, like Heartline's podcast, Sweet Cahir Siveen. I was like, you know, I appreciate the effort, like.
Because it begins with C.
What stood out to me was some places were like ideally made for this kind of thing, whatever it is about the way you emphasize the syllables or something. So like there's so many that you can put Macroom into. But the dark horse for me was Sneem.
Oh, so yeah.
There were so many with Sneem in them that were genius. Like, have you ever, like Dad Bob at Bobby Harper, have you ever Sneemed the rain? Like, yeah. Sneem for such a small village featured an awful lot. Like, I don't think Sneem was like proportionally represented. It was like much higher.
Yeah. Sneem age dirtbag. I'm going to put that one out there.
Oh, nice.
That's very, very good now, to be fair.
I was just so impressed with, like, you know, like most of the replies are not just like one person, like one reply. Like people put so much effort into it. Like I know you're saying there's like 900 replies and like whatever 200 retweets or plus 200 quote retweets or whatever, but like actually entries into it, like there must be over like 4,000, I'd say, because like people just went absolutely insane in putting stuff down, where there's just like, you know, there's people who've put down like what's this, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 in one tweet, and then they quote tweet themselves and then do another like 8 on top of that. Like that's like, yeah, actually, this is my an account called The Tweet of Christ Compels You. They have some quality ones here. Big shout out to this one. Actually, they're also their handle is called a T-Shock. But they have entries. The winner takes it y'all. And they have Ice Braby. They have the Monster Mash. That's fucking good.
That's a good
one.
3 Little Birds instead of 3 Little Birds.
There was a lot of burr actually in it as well.
Yeah, it's just so good. One guy has actually had, one guy here has like 4 Oasis songs. Don't Galway, Cigarettes and Anaclo. Actually, these are fucking shite enough. Actually, never mind.
that reminds me. The one with y'all that was by far the best was Wonder Y'all by Oasis.
Very good, yeah.
And Niall O'Kay actually had a few good ones as well. Lady Gaga, Edge of Gory, Dean Martin, Tullamore.
Tullamore.
When the moon hits your eye like a bigger pizza pie, Tullamore. Look, I think you could go all night talking about them, but they're top notch. Like, fair fucking play to them. Any final words on that, lads, before we move on? Because I genuinely think you could spend fucking 2 or 3 hours talking about the replies and having a laugh at them.
I know. I like. There's so many replies. Just keep flicking down, like, and it's absolutely so good. Like, you know, I actually think, like, you know, that that people like there's so many replies to it that people aren't going to scroll down the whole way through like 900 replies or whatever. Oasis, what's the story? Morning gory.
I actually, there was one that I thought of this morning, that I was like, you know what, I can see why nobody thought of it, but at the same time, it's like I love it so much, and it's The Simpsons, the monorail song.
Oh yeah,
Donorail.
That's very good. Yeah.
So
sorry, I just keep singing them. They're so good. The Fresh Prince of Adair. Oh, fuck,
Jesus.
fucking God.
Oh, stop. But I love the way, like, I put down your sex is Glanmire. And the Twitter account called Glanmire News Area replied, we approve of this. But their profile is brilliant. Glanmire News Area, a new news area for all Glanmire news, plus added extra news. Then there's like asterisks, not affiliated with another Glanmire publication with a similar name.
Jesus, some drama going on in Glanmire.
Oh, like I'd love to know the backstory there. Like if you're from the Glanmire News area, please let us know.
Please call in,
yeah. Shout out to Robin Kaffala as well, like with Kildare in the Name of.
Oh, very good. Yeah,
that's a good one.
And Fairy Tale of New Tupot House. And everybody in the club get dripsy. You could go on all night.
I love the way, you know, you were saying that there's like a few people who didn't get it, but then there's obviously a few. I'd say your brother is one of them as well, DJ, but like that, like are kind of like taking the piss out of like people who haven't gotten it. So there's one guy like Paddy O'Brien here, like, and his answer is, it's a long way to Tipperary. Did I do it? Is that how it works?
He just took the extra step from what I was doing. So I was like, look, there's too many good ones there. I'm just going to stick it's a long way to Tipperary.
Actually, I see that Peter, Portage Pub Club, had a brilliant reply that said, smells like Keem Spirit. But the only problem is that beach in Achill is actually pronounced locally as Kane.
Oh,
the Irish word.
He hasn't that fucking PE, isn't it?
Poor Peter. But actually, no, because someone replied then and said, why didn't you say it smells like Sneem Spirit? So, like, again, Sneem is just golden for this kind of crack. So, moving on, lads. Eoin, you put out a tweet on the Snowcast today, which was basically you said, look, we're recording a podcast tonight and we kind of know what we're going to talk about, but if you have any questions you want to throw away, throw them in and we'll answer under the influence tonight. So I'm under the influence at this stage.
Speaking of which, I'm going to grab another beer, so to be under the influence.
On the ball.
Do.
So what we'll do is, before we come back to these questions, we're going to pause for an ad break. Hopefully Acast will put an ad break in here and not 20 minutes earlier. And we'll come back to your questions in a moment.
Send in the cans, those tasty cans. Send in the pale ales and porters and stouts. The cans. Send in the cans.
And we're back in the room. You may or may not have heard an ad for the British Army there. If you did, please do not join them. In fact, boycott them with all of your hearts contained.
Hold on, is that a joke or is that like legit?
No, genuinely, like
could be, yeah. So Acast targets an ad towards you, like, so.
You, the listener, not us.
You, the listener, yeah. So, yeah.
So me specifically, they're targeting to join the
British.
Right,
okay. Actually, Shane McNally will be the ad. Whatever you've heard tonight, Shane McNally likes.
Yeah, Shane, during the pandemic, what were your ads? Do you remember when you were listening?
Actually, that's a fair. No, because I normally get. I'm trying to think what kind of shit that comes up. So you can kind of fast forward through it anyway.
Yeah.
Shane, that's not what the advertisers want to hear. You
No, okay,
Yeah.
I didn't say that.
But please do they're normally like 30 seconds exactly.
Yeah, I've such a good filter in my head. Like I just totally just forget whatever it is I've heard.
So what you're saying is the advertisements aren't very good.
Yes.
No,
although I am going to join the British Army tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know why though. For some reason.
Eoin and DJ.
Hey, I'm going to join La Quinta Brigada just
Oh yeah.
So Owen, you threw a call for a couple of questions just to kind of tie the podcast over.
Yeah. Just said that we had a gap in the podcast that we hadn't planned. So that just any guys that had a question, and our first one was from a Mr. Shane McNally, and he said, "As the only non-vaccinated person on the pod tonight, will I be shunned?" And yes, Shane, you will. You will
be shunned. I feel very shunned.
You will, and you have been already on the podcast. Paul Lambert chimed in and he said, "What's my job on the farm so I can get my EU passport back in 5 years?" DJ, I'm going to show this one to you. Paul, an avid listener of the podcast, wants to know what job he could get on your farm.
I think, I because Paul is a close personal friend of mine.
I thought you were saying a close contact.
Yeah.
Paul now has to isolate for 2 weeks.
We're going to put him in the cow's night shed for 14 nights just to mandatory.
Yeah,
it's time to oppose. Like
simulate him.
Yeah. We'll feed him a few nuts and a few scraps from a bale.
Actually, I'm going to ask you, right? What's the best crack on the farm? What's the best crack of a job on the farm?
See, we have dry cattle, so we don't do milking. And I haven't been on the farm in a while because I had surgery, so I can't go to the farm for another 2 weeks. And
but you have been on the farm before, like.
Yeah.
I'm asking, what's the best crack on it?
I want to create a context for the answer to the question. So I in the 6 weeks that I'm not able to do, like go to the gym, gyms are closed, or go up to the farm or do any sort of proper movement. I miss the farm. I do genuinely miss it an awful lot. The best crack is when you have calves that are like, kept in a shed and you get to go in and frolic about with them and you're like cleaning out the shed or you're feeding them, and they're like jumping around with you. Like you have the bit of crack with them. You kind of grow a bit of a bond with them. But I would say that what's the best crack altogether? Like driving tractors is cool. Like I don't care what you say. Like
it has to be driving tractors.
Yeah, like I think like that was definitely what I was thinking of. Like, as soon as I asked the question, I was like, it
is driving tractors is incredibly cool. And like, it actually is quite difficult to drive a tractor with a trailer on it. Like I absolutely like banjaxed a gate entry there during the summer with driving a tractor with a trailer on it because I just like cut the corner and because I was in a rush and like
the trailer clipped it as well.
That was holding up the gate. But the problem there is like that's then like a fucking 4-hour repair job. So I've just cost myself 4 hours when I'm in a rush to get home. You know what I mean? So I'm like being like, I will not be home tonight. Thank you very much. But the best crack on the farm is when you have so we have a field adjacent to the farmhouse called a meadow. And the meadow is where we bring a lot of our cows late in the year. It's kind of when we rotate them before we want to bring them in for the winter, trying to rotate to get the most out of the grass so they can eat it. And the best crack is when the cows are in the meadow and there's 1 or 2 cows still left to calve, and you need to check on them every couple of hours because we can't get a GPS signal. We're so rural. So we can't have like a GPS tracker on pregnant cows that'll tell you that like, the cow is calving now. And we just don't have the technology on the farm. So the best crack is staying up all night drinking slabs of cans with my uncle, who I'm very close to. And the best crack is at 4 o'clock in the morning when you're 12 cans in and you're trying to climb the wall into the meadow and you both have head torches on. And it's pitch black, and you're trying to climb this wall into the meadow field, and the wall is like 100 years old. So like every step you take is treacherous because the wall could come down at any minute, and you're trying to mount this wall into the field and find a cow that could potentially be calving or have calved. And that's the best crack, because like you're drunk, you're having a laugh with someone that you love dearly, and they're great memories if you can remember them the next day.
Yeah. I remember like as well. I had a good I had a good story about cousins of mine. They have a farm, but they also had show jumping horses that they used to have as well in stables, and they used to have an arena there. So the arena used to have to be flattened. So it's a sand arena, basically, like just this kind of like a circular field full of sand, and that the horses used to like do the training of doing the jumps and stuff on. But I remember you used to have to flatten the. Oh fuck! This is such a ridiculous thing. But you used to have to flatten the sand arena. So you used to go around with a tractor around the sand arena, and on the back of the sand arena there used to be a huge pallet with a flat end, like a flat pallet. And you used to drag that behind the tractor. So the tractor would be going, and you would flatten the sand with the pallet. So the pallet would just be kind of like just brushing over the sand with brushing over the sand. So my cousin, so this is classic like Irish farmyard kind of stuff, where you'd have like a 14-year-old cousin driving the tractor around the place, like, you know. So he was driving it around, and I think it was 9 at the time. Yeah, Diarmuid is 5 years older than me. So I was about 9 at the time, and I was on the back, standing on the pallet as that was being dragged around. So I was just like acting the absolute maggot on the back of this thing, like dancing around on the back of this pallet. And I thought it'd be cool to try and like tempt fate. And so I was like trying to like touch, like, so like jump off the pallet, jump onto the sand, and jump back onto the pallet, like, you know. So I was doing that, like, you know, off on. And then at one time I jumped off the front of the pallet, and the pallet just came over the back of me, and I was just crushed into the sand with the pallet just crushing me. I couldn't even breathe with the sand underneath. And you just see like my cousin just absolutely panicking, uncle, everyone just like trying to rip the pallet off the top of me, like, you know. It's just fucking, yeah. You can see why like farm accidents are like one of the major contributions in Ireland, like to it was absolutely crazy.
The best thing about that story is, like, on an Irish farm, when something like that happens, there's this 30 seconds of sheer dread. And like, it's like this subconscious response is to take the piss out of you then for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah, still does, yeah.
And rightly so, really.
Oh, rightly so. Like, I was completely the idiot in that situation, like, you know.
I think as well, like this summer with my Owen, you met the two boys at my wedding, my uncle's kids, Evan and Owen, that are 11 and 9 years of age. And we restored a trailer that my granduncle and my grandaunt's husband built by hand in the 50s. And basically, like, it's this wooden trailer. They welded all the joints themselves and took wheels off old tractors as the wheels. And this is for bringing in bales of hay and silage. And they made this by hand themselves back in the 50s. And we restored the wood floor and that during the summer. So we took off the back and restored the whole lot. Myself, my dad, my uncle, and the two young lads just did it ourselves during the summer over a day. And like, it was the best crack. Like, it was just mighty crack. And like, there was like 3 generations there, because my granduncle came out and sat in the chair out in the sun and was watching us while we were doing it, shouting at us, telling us how useless we were, and like had a few cans and a bag of chips at the end of that day, like sitting on the refurbished tractor, like just the best fucking crack. And it's one of these things that, like, we're talking about COVID and technology and mRNA vaccines and all this kind of stuff. This is just a bunch of lads like fucking using hammers and chisels, getting up fucking bits of wood out of fucking rotten, rusty old metal and trying to restore it by hand and stuff. And it's just like the most purest, loveliest experience of it all. Like, and it's like this kind of yoke that you treasure. So I suppose to answer Paul's question, that we haven't even,
out of all those jobs, which would he be most suited to?
Well, in fairness to Paul, like he's a strong cunt. So I reckon Paul could just pull the trailer himself. We wouldn't need a tractor anymore.
Yeah, he'd be the tractor on the farm.
Yeah, he'd be the
tractor. Tractor Paul. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, get back to these questions.
I think that's a good answer, to be fair.
That is a good answer. That is good. Okay. So Ben Park, one of our American listeners, says, of the cans you enjoyed from the Candemic series, which one would you choose to be the only beer you could drink for the rest of your life?
That's like asking Jesus to choose his favorite child.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. I'd say, yeah.
I think so. I'm actually just trying to find the list on, because you sent me the list of all the beers that we drank during the Candemic series.
Oh yeah.
So the problem with this question is the rest of your life thing, because because we've answered what's the best beer that we drank, and like I kind of flapped it with two different answers, and I genuinely think that Declan's Otterbank Brewing So It Begins Saison, the mixed fermentation Saison could be the greatest tasting sensation that I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
If it's the only beer I can drink for the rest of my life, will it ruin the magic? Do you know, that kind of way? If it's like you're going to the pub tonight, you're going to have 15 of these, or you're going to have 10.
Yeah, and that kind of beer is supposed to be savoured in a moment and enjoyed. Like, it's about context. Like, and that's why these questions are so hard. You're like, oh, fucking hell, like maybe I'll just say Guinness, because you know, at least I can have, like you say, 15 pints of it or something. But it's so tricky, because you have to just take away everything else. I don't know. I hate those.
I know, no, but like actually, Shane, that's not like a bad answer, really. Like, it is actually that. I don't know, like it's that kind of genericness, isn't it? That like you actually kind of need to ensure that it's the thing that you'll drink for the rest of your life, like,
Yeah. If I'm Homer Simpson in hell with that big donut machine or whatever, like, yeah, I'm gonna want something that's a Guinness as opposed to like Saison or something, because that will actually go either way.
You know what though? I've looked at the list on.
Yeah.
And as soon as I looked at the list, I knew the answer though. And if I had to come up with it myself, I never would have. But if I had to pick one single beer from them to drink for the rest of my life, and I couldn't drink any other beer, bar none, I would go with the West Kerry Brewing Company, Bjork Corcaguina's, the golden ale that I drank.
Yeah.
Because it was so pure and so fresh that I think I would never get sick of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think with like a Saison or a stout, kind of like some of the stouts that we drank, some of the beers that we drank that are like phenomenal beers, but you have to drink it for the rest of your life. I'm like, I could see a point where I'm like, fuck this, I'm going to take 2 months off drinking this stuff. Whereas that's just so simplistic, just simple, pure brilliance, that I think I could drink that and nothing else for the rest of my life. And it was like, I literally found that brewery on the day at the plinth. It wasn't even on the plinth, it was on like the shelf below the plinth, before the plinth. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And when I read it then, it was brewed in the Gaeltacht, in Béla and Airtig. It was like pure Corcaguina, a golden ale, which is a classic style. And then when I tasted it, it matched my expectations and more. And now when I look at the list and I'm like, it just jumps fucking out. I'm like, yes, like, get me more of that. Like, we went to the plinth yesterday and it wasn't there, and I was gutted, because I'm like, every time I go to the plinth now, I'm like, oh, I wonder if they have some of that golden ale, because I put that in the fridge and take it out and drink it. It's just going to be a lovely experience.
Just looking at my ones there from it, because like definitely, like we both I think we kind of like went kind of out of our way to like drink mad shit as well. Like, you know, as in like there was like the Guardians of the Galaxy from the Wicklow Wolf and stuff like that as well. Like, you know, like that's definitely not something that you'd drink, just even percentage wise. Like there's no way that you're going to be drinking that.
You'd be lucky to come out of it with your life.
But maybe actually keeping along the kind of stout route, maybe for me, I might if the choice was, I probably would drink O'Hara's Land for Lawn.
Oh yeah. Cracking beer.
Yeah, I think that might be my out of all the ones that we featured on the Candemic, I think that might be the one that I'd tip away at like for the rest of my life. Such a weird thing to say, isn't it?
But it's a good point, because it's like a stout that you could like that should be universally loved. You know, and it being a Carlo stout,
they don't get much love anyway, so yeah. Might as well give them a bit of business.
Shane, do you get much of it in Wexford, being a border county with Carlo?
No, like it's you wouldn't see O'Hara's anywhere there, which is it's quite sad really, because I think their beers are fucking amazing, and Land for Lawn is probably one of the best stouts I've ever tried. Sorry, you just reminded me. It's the whole thing, you know, memory and stuff. But I just had a little smile on my face, because it's like, God, when's the last time I had Land for Lawn on draft? And I had it on draft, and it was when it was coming home from my brother-in-law's stag do. I was going home with my father-in-law, and I said, "Here, we'll nip in for a cheeky pint, will we?" And we just nipped in like halfway through our walk, just randomly into a pub in Dublin, and I saw this on tap. I was like, look, this was meant to finish today.
Yeah.
But it was such a gorgeous pint. Like we just the two of us, and we nursed this pint as well. But just chatting, and it was, you know, it's probably because some of the best pints you have are with, you know, people who mean a lot to you as well.
Yeah.
But the two of us, like, you know, it's amazing. Like when you said it, that's the thing that just jumped straight into my head. It's like, God, that's such a good beer. But obviously that memory has enhanced the experience of that beer. But so to answer your question, DJ, we don't get much of that in Wexford.
But you know, if I was to say to you, because obviously like the Candemic was myself and Eoin for the month, is there any beer that you can think of that you would be like very happily drink that and just that for the rest of your life? No is a perfectly respectable answer.
No, there's not a no. Like I feel right that I'm probably going to veer towards like going like a kind of a stout or a red ale, or like yourself a golden ale, because that golden ale is beautiful, beautiful beer. But it's a golden ale, but it actually has a bit of complexity to it as well. Yeah. So like one of my favorite beers is Trouble Brewing's Dark Arts. I think it's just like an amazing porter, and like if that was the only thing I could have, okay, fair enough. I'd probably cope with that. It's such a tough question, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is.
There you go, Dark Arts, right? That's what I drink.
No matter. I'm going to ask you a question now based on Ben's initial question. Is there a limited edition beer that you had in the past that you'd love to bring back to be a staple in a brewery's production? Eoin, have you one? So what I'd say is what inspired this question is looking at the list for the Candemic and the Western Herd, because we've featured Western. We haven't. We featured White Hag from Sligo, but seeing as we're out west in Sligo, we'll come down to Clare for a second. And for County Clare, I had the Western Herd's Dolman Irish Whiskey Stout, which was aged in Irish whiskey barrels with cocoa nibs and roasted coffee, and it was an amazing beer, and I'd love to have another bottle of it. And I won't, because it's one of them things that I'm like, Jesus Christ, that was a brilliant beer to taste, and I'll never have one again. So is there any beer that elicits that kind of emotion in you? Maybe emotion's the wrong word, but just that reaction when you see a picture of it or you're reminded of it?
A limited edition beer, is it?
Something that's like gone now, you know, that you won't have.
One that I'd love to get back. and actually could be a staple as well for me, like that. If I could only drink one, would be Super Soaker by Yellow Belly. Like just like
a Yellow Belly Wicklow Wolf.
Yeah, Yellow Belly and Wicklow Wolf, like that crossover series, like that. I don't know, that was just phenomenal. And like again, I think it probably like hones back a bit on what Shane was saying there, where it's just like that beer is like touching on a memory as well, whereby you're just like, oh, like it was such good tasting beer, but like, are you actually just contributing the memory that you had about it as well into the taste as well? Because like that was such a good moment where like DJ were absolutely acting a maggot. We were playing tag rugby, and there was a lot of beering going on, and having barbecues and stuff like that. And yeah, it was a really, really good moment in my life. But that beer just absolutely nailed that time in my life. But it also just just how fresh and how like it was one of those times as well where I suppose coming back to something that you were saying, Shane, earlier on, where it's just like something like really clicked with you. Like this was like a moment where I go, hold on now, this is where I can see the craft beer industry are actually innovators. And like this is one where like, you know, heard the stories of Declan and can't remember the guy from Wicklow Wolf. Quincy, yeah. Literally had a WhatsApp conversation being like, oh, do you think we could make something that tastes like a super split? Maybe. Sure, let's just try it, like. And then they just go for it and absolutely nail it. Like it's just never had anything that's been like so nailed on. Like,
but to come back to like Shane, where you've done to me what you did to Shane with Lanfallon, and you brought me to a specific moment in my life, and it's us on the train up to meet Finn Dwyer for the first time.
Yeah,
and we had six Super Soakers, and we drank 4 of them and gave 2 as a gift to Finn because we were pissed. But we drank them on the train up to Kilkenny, and it was just like this, the excitement of us as a small podcast at the time going to meet like podcast royalty and not knowing how it was going to go, and him possibly thinking that we were absolute gobshites. And then it turning out to be like one of the best podcasts we've ever done. This mad like friendship that we've created with Finn now. That has lasted, and now Finn is an absolute fiend for the craft beers. He keeps like sending us random pictures of beers that he's drinking, being like,
what do you reckon?
Yeah. Like, he keeps like texting me being like, can you recommend a fruity beer? Yes. Can you recommend a historical decade? Shane, did you get much Super Soaker in the land of Super Soakers?
Myself and Orla actually just again like we had a few of them out in it was actually our old house here, but yeah, we enjoyed a few of them out in one of the rare little bits of sunshine in our back garden and like barbecues and stuff, and they were absolutely phenomenal. But like yourselves, I was like, there's no way this is going to taste like a Super Split. Absolutely no way.
No way, yeah.
Yeah, fake news, and then you taste it and you're like, no, they've nailed it.
Absolutely nailed it.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. So Ben also asked, basically saying, what's the first destination abroad once you visit? So how about what about the first destination abroad once you visited all the pubs and want to travel? So I think he's kind of taking the pace that we're going to visit all the pubs in Ireland initially before we leave the country. But once we visited all the pubs, where is the first destination you'd like to go abroad?
Well, I'm going to premise this by saying I really can't wait to visit all the pubs that we had on the what was the name of the little series we did with the pubs? I'm not forgetting the name of it.
This is this vaccine again. His memory is shot.
Oh, the last call.
Oh, last call, yeah. I kept having like the Last Dance in my head when you were saying that. I was just like, it's no.
Is that when you were the pint with Michael Jordan? The last call was good, and I'm like really mad to get to those pubs. Like I can't wait to go to Millet's Emporium and Mother Mac's. Them lads are cracked, like, and up to 4 provinces and record a podcast Osquelga when we're drinking. Will be so much fun. But basically, myself and Eve were supposed to go to Cuba on our honeymoon, and then our wedding got cancelled, and then our honeymoon became a trip to the west coast of Ireland. So yeah, it's Cuba for me, without a shadow of a doubt. I can't wait to see what Cuba's like, and go to Havana and experience that, and then go to like an all-inclusive resort and pretend that I'm a fucking millionaire, even though I'm not, for a couple of days.
It's tough. Like, I don't know. I actually don't really have a hankering for like anywhere in particular abroad. I just have a hankering to go abroad. But like, yeah, maybe I'd say I'd probably go to my best man for my wedding, Skew. I might go to New York to see him. That I think, and it's more so just to see him, and like just it's so different when like lads that they come home and like you meet them back in your home county, and you act the same as if you were in like 5th year or whatever. It's that kind of vibe that you always get. But it's when you go abroad and go to their home place that like it really kind of changes up a little bit, and it's like experiencing that. Like like I've been over to New York to him like about 3 times now before, and like he's lived in like 2 different places when I've been there, and it's just cool, like experiencing like places where people are living, like and like I've done the whole fucking touristy shit in New York already, like Statue of Liberty me whole life. Like just bring me to a pub out in the Queens or somewhere. Like that's what I want to do now, like and bring me to like hot dog restaurants, and let's get pissed into the middle of the night and fall asleep on a sidewalk and all this shit. Like that's what you really want, like so it's experiencing those kind of things. So yeah, probably New York, even though like the States has gone to absolute pot. But like sure, look, well, I'd venture it for him anyway. Yeah, it'd be cool. What about you, Shane?
Yeah, it's not really a tough question, but like, so every New Year's, myself, and funny enough, the same as yourself, it's my best mate was best man at my wedding, and what we do is we're a really close-knit group of friends, and every New Year's we alternate between Edinburgh and Ireland. So he's from Ireland, and as most of our generation, we're lucky enough we're back here, but lots of us emigrated. So yeah, we all kind of get together and congregate in Ireland or in Edinburgh, and that's the one thing that this Christmas that just really hit home, that we're like, fuck, like you say, like meeting up at Christmas and stuff like that. That it's such a like the cultural kind of institution that you all have to meet up at Christmas Eve and just get back together. So anyway, look, first place I will go is Edinburgh to see him and his wife, and we'll have the crack. But the other thing that lockdown has done, and everyone's sick of Zoom, we're talking over Zoom now at the moment, but and I was talking to a mate of mine, a really good mate of mine, and we were lucky enough that he got married at the very end 2019 in New Zealand. We were lucky enough that we were over there. But one of the things he said was that, okay, lockdown is like, it's all negative. The one of the things he said is that what's been normalized is people communicating with other people at the other side of the world, just in a normal way. And what was huge to him is like, actually, no, I've never had so much contact with home. It's great. And I've actually kind of not refound kind of friends, but yourself, like there's people you WhatsApp every so often. But there's a really good mate of mine in Italy, and we were like, we haven't talked in ages, and then like we've Zoomed loads of times since. Yeah, we're like, Jesus, we need to go visit each other. And like that's probably, so to answer the question, I'm probably going to go straight to Italy because he's right down in wine country, so it's a bit selfish, but like it's just that kind of little bit of positivity out of the madness that was last year. That like,
yeah, no, it definitely
kind of
has opened.
kind of breaking down those barriers. Just normalizing, kind of just talking like at a distance. So yeah, to answer the question, I'll probably go to Italy after Edinburgh.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Like, yeah, no, I definitely think you're totally right. Like, it has like totally normalized just like reaching out to people and just been like, I don't know, just like people are just bored, like just fucking chatting to people that hadn't chatted to in ages. Like, and it's so nice as well. Like, let's just like, even like tomorrow night, like I have like Zoom chat with lads I haven't chatted to in a year, like, you know, but it's just like, it was like a text, like it was weird because it was like a WhatsApp group that like we would always have.
Yeah.
And we'd be quite active in the WhatsApp group, but then it was just like, oh, will we just have cans tomorrow night? Like, this is like, what are we doing? Like, we're literally, it'd probably take us longer to type this out now than to actually just, like chat over this thing, like, you know. So yeah, no, some positives from the whole thing, but yeah.
I'm gonna say, right, to finish up the podcast, we kind of went on a bit with the good questions because the answers were fucking great. We wanted to talk about not your man Donny from CNN, but we want to talk about his Owlad. And also the happy birthday Owlad.
Oh yeah, the two of them.
I'm going to actually fucking make this quite difficult for you, Shane. But Owen, I was going to say to you, like, so you've got Donny's Owlad. Like, everyone in Ireland knows what I'm talking about. If you're from the UK, look, your man Donny, who's on CNN, Donald O'Sullivan, the CNN reporter, right? Look up his father's interview with Irish media, because his mother and father there, but his father in particular is like an absolute hero. And then look up Happy Birthday Owlad as well, people, because it's just the most wholesome video. It's this father who, over Christmas, this fella was trying to record his father saying happy birthday to his son.
Oh, God.
And the father can't get past the word hello.
That's brilliant.
But it's so ridiculous because he's so formal with the hello. He's like, hello.
And then he's like, because he keeps cracking up every time he says hello, he's like, okay. And you can see the cogs turning in his head. He's like, maybe if I say it even more formally, I'll be serious this time and I can wish my son a happy birthday. Hello.
It's so good. Like, it's definitely something that we've all experienced. Like, maybe not that exact scenario, but it's like one of those things where like you just fucking crack up. You just can't, like just finding something like the word hello, like absolutely hilarious, where you just can't handle it ever again. Like, it's fucking.
The more serious you try to be, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
But basically, we're going to declare one of these lads Snugcast Hero of the Week, and there's 3 of us here. So, right,
that's a tough choice.
Yeah, so you need to choose between Donny's Owlad and Happy Birthday Owlad as the Snugcast Hero of the Week. This is a feature that we may bring back.
Yeah,
it's not going to be a regular occurrence because there's rarely 2 people deserving of such an accolade. But Owen, you have to make a decision. Donny or Happy Birthday Owlad?
I'm gonna go for Happy Birthday Owlad, and it's just it's just because like for the minute and whatever 47 seconds or whatever the fuck it is of it, that I was just, it's one of those ones where it's that creeping smile on your face where you're like, what's this video about? Like, and it's just like, just starting off like this normal thing, and then your man starting, you're going, that's funny, like, and then it just keeps going, and the smile gets bigger and bigger, and like you just can't help yourself. I absolutely love that. Like, it's so good, so good.
So we've 1 vote for Happy Birthday Owlad. Shane, are you going to split the vote, or are you going to give?
No, I'm straight in there. Happy Birthday Owlad.
Like,
no, like, oh, nail on the head there. Like, just that creeping smile on your face, like doom scrolling this morning, and I come across this thing. I click in, and I was cackling by the end of it. Like, it was just brilliant.
I'm so glad that you both voted for Happy Birthday Owlad, because I really would find it hard to differentiate between them, because my granddad's from Kerry, and like Donny's Owlad, like, just I have this like
Oh, it's gone.
Like absolute graw for Kerry people. Like the thing is, I don't actually know if he's from Kerry. I'm just presuming he's from Carrick. But I love Donny's outlet, especially the way, like, you know, the international media have congregated to his door, and he still has the like cap on. You know, I'm like,
so good.
Yeah,
That's brilliant.
He hasn't even bothered to flatten it or anything.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Olad is definitely top notch. And what I love is, my favorite part of the happy birthday, Olad, is see at the end where he like tried to go on with his sentence with Gareth Sullivan laughing. And like it was just like hello, and then the like squeals of laughter as he tried to spit out words that.
I think it's like his laughter and like the addition of like whoever's recording and like everyone in the room just laughing as well. Like so good. Like in fairness to your man, right? That there's like there's a good few of the attempts where like he goes hello and like he keeps a straight face. The person behind the camera just fucking absolutely cracks their whole laughing. And like there's no way you can keep a straight face.
The best thing about it all as well is you just know that happy birthday Olad is just after coming home from Christmas mass as well. The rig out and the hair slicked and stuff. So I look, lads, we will announce happy birthday Olad as the next president of Ireland. So here's to him, Sláinte. Listen, guys, thanks a million for tuning in. You know where the Patreon is, www.patreon.com/snugcast. You can find us on social media. We're Snugcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're not so active on the Facebook, but you'll find us on the Twitter and Instagram every now and again. And please engage. You can send us an email if you got comment, thesnugcast@gmail.com. We love getting feedback. And if you're on iTunes or any of the stuff that you can rate us on, give us an old 5-star rating.
Or you can subscribe to youtube.com/owntab. That's
you want to see some top
all elephants,
African,
all elephants related content.
This has been the Snugcast this week. It's been a fucking joy. It's been the exact kind of conversation you have sitting at a bar with someone, with people that you know, and get on with and have a bit of crack with over a couple of hours on a night out. It's exactly what we're going for, I think, this kind of chat. Really enjoyed it. So look, follow us on social media, engage, subscribe, tell your friends, pass the pod on to someone you know, and big take home is, if you want to have a pint soon, get the fucking vaccine as soon as you can.
Right, look.
Sláinte.